Hi everyone. Good news. I finally figured out how to make videos longer than 15 minutes. So I spent the better part of an hour doing that and fiddling around and whatever. So, but what I need to know from you guys is how long is too long. Today's video is definitely going to be longer than 15. And so because I have a couple stories to tell. But so yeah, I want to hear from you. What's too long? I mean, I have videos I sub to where they sit and talk for 3 hours, and I am thoroughly entertained the entire time. So, but that's just me. I don't know how you guys feel. So I will take the majority opinion and use that as my guidelines. Obviously, I won't do long videos, often, but just as necessary, whatever. I like to tell stories, and I like to include as many details as possible to help really enhance the story. So, sitting here on the couch, my battery's a little low. I thought I could do it while plugged in, but apparently when you try to record while it's plugged in, you don't have volume. So very important when you're telling the story. So anyway, as you can see, Mindy's behind me. She's doing her duty, watching out the window, and oofing. That's what we call it, oofing at anything that she sees. So, which could be anything from a squirrel to a car driving by on the road. So, okay, so that took 2 minutes. So, all of you, or a lot of you, are asking about the concert. So I have two stories to tell. One of the concert itself, and the other one is what happened, my adventure that was before and after. So, the concert itself, I had my seats were I needed accessible seating, so I got and I got to pick out my spot. So, but I got a padded folding chair, which was mostly comfortable, and it was up against the railing, kind of where two railings kind of come to a corner, and there was on the upper deck, but level with the concourse level, and overlooking the stage area, and there was one row in front of me, and they were like 6 steps below me. So even if I was sitting, which I did, and they were standing, my view was not blocked at all at any time. So these were awesome seats. So there were about 6 or 7 acts, established Christian groups that went before Toby. He calls this concert his Hits Deep tour. So it's all about the hit songs. So he brings on several friends, and they play their hit songs. So that was all a lot of fun. One artist in particular, Torrin Wells, a young man. I know a few of his songs, not many, and there was one song. Well, first of all, I always thought of him as kind of more of a ballad worship song singer. But he came on like a tornado. And he had what I call the Madonna microphone, and he had foot moves that reminded me of Michael Jackson, and it was like, holy cow! So that was awesome. And then he did a few songs, and then all of a sudden he ran off the stage or disappeared. One of his band members kept playing, and I'm like, is this? I wasn't sure what was going on. And then after a couple minutes, all of a sudden he appeared on the screen. And I had trouble finding where he was. And I finally found him here. He was directly in front of me across the stadium, and he was carrying a guitar, playing it, singing, and making his way down the stadium steps. And you could see the people behind him and around him, as all at the same time. And I was totally blown away by that. When he got down to the stadium floor, he handed his guitar to somebody who ran it up on stage. He also ran up on stage and then finished that song and then his final song or songs. And then after that there was a 20-minute intermission, and then Toby started. And the whole time, so I'm going to show you. I drew a little diagram. So here's the main stage, and then the catwalk, which was used by Toby, he uses it a lot. 2 little winglets, and then I should have drawn these. These went out a little bit further than that. And then there was this. And then there was this rectangular thing that kind of sat on top, and of course was supported here. And I'm safety conscious, and I'm like, well, that looks like a trip hazard, because you could see the lip. It was like I said, it was sitting on top. And so that looks like you could easily trip on that, especially if it's darker or whatever. So this dotted line is, if you follow this dotted line and then you went up to where I was, that's where I was sitting. So that was my view. It was right there. So I just had to keep moving my head and whatever. So Toby comes on, and he walks out. Now he does all his concerts basically the same way. Wherever he goes, very little variation. I suppose so you don't have to remember everything. He just has to remember where he is. So he can say Minneapolis and not Detroit or whatever. And I follow him on Instagram and Facebook and everything, so I kind of knew what to expect. And so he comes on, and he just kind of walks on stage, and kind of in the middle of the catwalk, and he started out by he goes, in case you didn't know, because I think most people knew, but in case you didn't know, and then he talked about his oldest son, who suddenly passed last fall of a accidental overdose. And so I think he's going around to thank everybody for the cards and letters, the sentiments on all the social media sites, and especially the prayers as him and his family struggle through the mourning process and figuring out, what ends up, and how do you go on after a tragedy like that. And so he said all that, and then he said, okay, let's start the show. He turned around, the lights went out, he ran off, and then the next thing you knew, he was sitting on this part here, and that's when I found out that was basically a giant tablet. The thing lit up. At various parts of the show, it had different things, swirling things, and pictures, and things going on. And sometimes it was just a bright light, and other times it was off, and so on. And he started the show with his song "The Elements," which is the title track of his last album, his latest album, which came out last year. And he always wears a hoodie with the hood up while he's singing it, and it's all about fighting the elements of this world that's trying to tear us apart. And while he's singing that, of course I knew this, he makes it snow, so he's like going through the elements. And I always thought, well, is this like not like real snow, or is this more like uh, like some kind of like virtual special effect somehow. Well, I found out that he does. Yes, he makes it snow. There was a thing up in the ceiling that was blowing this white particles and raining down on him, and then which they later had to. Sorry, I bumped my cord. They later had to sweep up and so on. So I'm hoping to tack on some screenshots that I took from other people got to put on, since you all know about my tablet being confiscated, which I'm very upset about. So I'll include a picture of that so you can see. The rest of the concert was typical Toby, amazing. I'm just so glad that I was able to see it live. He did sing his song 21 Years, which was his tribute. It's his tribute to his son. It's a beautiful yet heart-wrenching song. I was crying through the whole thing, of course. And then when he got done with the song, one of the guys in his band, Gabe, who does everything from more vocals to beatboxing to trumpet to whatever. He started doing he started saying something, and he kept looking over at Toby, and Toby was just kind of hanging on the microphone and not doing anything, and I thought he probably cries every night when he sings that song, because he's a dad, and he loves his family and loves his kids, and this was it just, I can't imagine how something like this rocks a parent's world. So he's, and I do know this changes you, this changes your world, this changes reality. You develop a new normal. Nothing's the same again. So I do know that. So the concert started about 7 o'clock. Toby got done about 20 minutes to 11. And then I made my way home again. So here's my story. My other story. So I live about an hour away from the Twin Cities. I live in I call it a town. I guess technically it's a city, but it's about 15,000 people. But most of the people are kind of scattered around in various offshoots, neighborhoods, and so on. My town is surrounded by, in every direction, every road that out. There's about 7 to 10 miles until the next town, in every direction, and in between are farm fields and undeveloped land, and then you get to that town, and then the next town is another 7 to 10 miles, and so on. You keep every direction unless you're heading east towards the cities, and then when you hit after about half hour or so, when you hit the far western suburb or ring, then it's like city after city after city. So I don't go to the cities much, hardly at all. I'm comfortable here. What's not available here is available by catalog or now the internet. And that's how I was raised, and that's how it's been. So, navigating this whole thing by myself was, I knew it was going to be kind of an adventure. So, I get there. So I plan on parking in the parking ramp, which I've done before. I've done parking ramps. And so parking ramp B, and so I had it all map quested, And when I do MapQuest, I look at the actual picture so I know what I'm looking for and looking at and how it's going to look when I get there, when I leave, you know, the whole thing. So I'm all prepared. Since I don't have a smartphone, I've never used GPS. When I get my drive instructions, I write everything down on a piece of paper, so I got that in my hand. And so I go there and I'm following the directions, and I'm most of the way there, and all of a sudden I'm following the street signs. All of a sudden I'm in the ramp, and it's like, okay, that's not what this says, but you know, MapQuest sometimes doesn't have it right, so I know that. So I'm like, okay, I'm in the ramp. I get my ticket, and I just grab the first spot I could see. Yeah. She says she's Jen out the window. So I get there, and they said doors open at 6 o'clock. Okay. So and I got there, it was like 5:15. Well, I was planning on making this vlog for all of you to show you as I went about, to show you show you everything, including concert footage and so on. So I made a video sitting there in my car, and which I have since deleted because what's the point now? And then I just played games with my little tablet and whatever, and then all of a sudden I noticed, oh, it's 5 to 6. I better, So I get out of my car, and I knew I had just passed by. If I walked up and made a little U-E, and then right there was this door with this arrow pointing elevators. So I go in the door. So I walk in the door, and there's this little room, I guess, with a bank of elevators. And that's when I realized that I knew I needed to. I knew there was a skyway from ramp to stadium, the Target Center. I suddenly realized that I had no idea where this skyway was in relation to where I was. So there was a map on the wall, so by the elevator. So I go to the map, and I'm studying this, and I finally find the dot that says, you are here, okay? So I found the dot here, and then I saw the yellow line marking the skyway, and the yellow line was all the way down to here. Okay, so how do you get from here to here? So I'm staring at this, and all of a sudden this couple comes in from the door I came in, and they're looking at that, and we're all looking at that, and they said, well, we're going down the street level and walk it. Well, I didn't want to do that because my walking distance is not great as for my abilities, and so they took the elevator down, and I stayed behind. So I thought, well, there's got to be a different way. So I'm looking at this, and I realized, according to the map, the skyway starts on level 3. I'm on level 2. Okay, so I need to go up to level 3. So I get in the elevator, and I go up one. So I come out of the elevator. There's the same map. I'm like, now, okay, same thing. Dot, you are here. Here's the skyway. Well, just then, 2 groups of people came in. We're all studying the map because we're all going to the concert, and we all established that we need to go back out that door, and then walk through the ramp, well, down to where the skyway is. Okay. So I'm thinking, well, I hope it's not that far. So we go out and made that UE part, that because every level's the same, and I started walking, and they said hey, it's just right there. I'm like, oh, awesome. So I just follow them. I walk past all the cars, and I noticed someone had tossed a empty pizza box on the ground. behind one of the cars, and it's like, you know, litter bug, you know, people should find a garbage. And we get to the other side, and there's a very similar looking door into another, you know, into the room. And so I'm constantly looking at my surroundings because I knew I need to remember how to get back to my car, and I'm well known for getting lost. My mom says I could get lost in a paper bag, so which is true, very, very true. So we go into that door, and there's another similar bank of elevators, but there's also another door, and so I just followed them. They went through that door, and now we're in this big cavernous area, and people are walking by, and it's like, okay, that's the Skyway, awesome. So now I'm just following the signs above, hanging off the ceiling. And I said, so there was an arrow, Target Center. So I follow that, and on my way, there were windows, and I looked out the window, and there was the Twins Stadium right outside. And so I was like, oh, I should get a picture of that. And it's like, well, you know, shouldn't I, you know, should I stop? And I'm looking at my watch, it was only 10, it was actually only 10 after 6. So I was like, oh, I got plenty of time. So I stopped and took a picture. And now I'm really glad I did, because that ended up being the only picture that I was able to take. So I walk up, and then there was a T, and I looked at the sign that said Target Center that way. So I'm trying to remember, okay, Target Center that way. So made the left turn and kept walking, and then all of a sudden it opened up, and there was just all these people, and they're just standing there. And so I look in here, and I quickly figured out that it was all the lines to get through the metal detectors. So it wasn't that long, and it's my turn, and it says, you know, stick all your metal stuff in this whatever, and then you could go through. So I canter my clear plastic bags. I didn't know what, you know, a lot of places they require that. And so she's poking through with her stick and everything, and then she points at my tablet. She goes, you can't have these in here, even though I'm watching everybody, you know, putting their phones in. And so they brought me to where I needed to go. So I needed to go, turn around, go back, and then they, you know, I had to cut through the crowd, get to this little room, and where they checked in my tablets, gave me a ticket, said they'll be here until everybody has gotten their stuff. Okay, they said, now you can go straight back to the, you don't have to stand in line again. Okay, awesome. So I cut back to the crowd again, get to the metal detector, went through, no problem, and grabbed my stuff. And, okay, now I'm in. So then, now I knew my ticket said I was in section 210, I believe. And I'm looking at the signs above, and they were all, you know, sections 101 to 10, whatever. I'm thinking, okay, I'm on the wrong level. So then I was like looking around, and I find an escalator. Okay, great. So I get on the escalator, and I go up a level, and there's like really not a whole lot there. I'm like, okay, go up another one, and there was just, it said premium level. I wasn't sure what that meant. There was nobody around, and finally I realized I was on the level with all the sky boxes, the luxury boxes. It's like, oh, okay, I need to go up one more. So I go up one more. Now there's all these people around. It's like, and then I look at the sign. Okay, levels 201 to 2, whatever. Okay, so I start walking, and at this point, okay, find a bathroom. Did that. Came out. I need to find food. I need to find a merch table, and I need to find my spot. So I did all that. I found the merch table. I got a new bracelet. Put me back. And found my spot. Went back out. There was a food place right across the way from me. Got some chicken strips and fries, and a Sprite. Went back to my chair. Enjoyed the concert. afterwards, it got all done, and I realized, okay, the stadium full of people, almost sold out. We're all going to leave at once. And so I was like, okay, I knew this was going to be a challenge, a zoo. But it's like, okay, so now I'm trying to remember. Okay, now I got to backtrack my steps. You know, it's been over 3 hours. Yeah. So I get out, and there's just this slow moving crowd as everybody's kind of moving, and I kept, you know, I was like, okay, I remember that, and I remember that, I remember that, and finally I get to this, like, this just, you know, huge whatever, and we're all slowly, you know, finally I realized we're all heading to the escalator, down, and, so there was like, you know, don't push, you know, everybody be patient, take your time, blah, 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 whatever. So it's my turn. I get on. I go down, and then there's the second one. So I go down, and I'm just standing there, and there's people milling around and walking around, but it's like nothing looks familiar, and I'm like, you know, I'm like just whatever. And finally, and so I think, well, then I see these people that look official. So I start walking toward them. One of them says, "The Skyway is one more level down." I'm like, "Oh, that's I need to know." And then I went up and asked about the little room for where my tablets were, and they say, "Oh yeah, you just go through there, go around the pole and whatever." I'm thinking, "Yeah, I'm gonna remember that." So then I go down. I get back in line. You know, it felt like this was like a bunch of cattle going, you know, like a cattle drive. That's what it felt like. So I go down one more escalator, and then I get down there and I see the metal detectors. This looks familiar. Now you've got even more people, and everybody's all heading in the same direction, very slowly moving, and then I realized everybody's heading to the Skyway. Okay, but I'm trying to find the little room. So I got in the conversation with a guy, and he's helping me look, and finally I see it. Again, I have to cut across a group of people. You know, I have to cut across the crowd. So I somehow managed to do that. I get into the room, sit down on the couch, and there just to rest a little bit. The guy brought me my stuff. Okay, back out. So I went back out, joined the rest of the crowd, and eventually got into the Skyway, walked a little bit, then came to that T. And I thought, I remember this. So I made the right, went down, you know, walk. And finally, then it opened up to this space. And I'm like, do I remember this? And I'm looking around, and it's like, I don't really remember this. Okay, where do I go? And there was this door next to me, and I'm like, I think I have to go through that door, but I'm not sure. So I go through that door, and that's the room with the elevators. I'm like, okay. So it's like, okay, so what do I have to do first? Okay, I have to go through the ramp first. So I go past the elevator doors, through that door, now I'm in the ramp. And I look at it, and I'm like, this does not look familiar at all, but this is the way I came. So I start walking. Of course, I see this long line of cars as they're all leaving the parking ramp, and I'm thinking, oh, that's my future. So I'm slowly walking up, you know, behind all the cars, and every once in a while I hear somebody behind me, so I duck between cars, and they go by, and then I keep going. And I'm getting there, and all of a sudden I see that pizza box on the ground. I'm like, yes, I know where I am. I remember that pizza box. I'm right where I need to be. I was so excited. It's like, thank you for garbage. So I keep going. I get to the little room again, and I go in, and it's like, okay, I need to go one level down. So I hit the button, and the thing lit up. And I'm waiting. I'm looking at the door in front of me, and I'm waiting for it to open. Finally, I turn my head, and here the elevator door to my far left, the light's on, and that's when I hear a sound. I go over to it, and then also the light shuts off. And that's when I realized that that door had opened up and it had just closed because I didn't go in it. I was like, oh, so I gotta do this again. So I went back to the button this time, then hurried over and got in. Went down a floor. Okay, now I'm level 2. That's where I need to be. So went out the door, and I was like, all I have to do is go do the UE. There's my car. Yay! I got in my car, and I thought, I wish I had, I had debated on whether I should, interrupt myself and, find a bathroom again, and I didn't, and now I was wishing I had. I was like, but it's too late now. So I just stand there, and it's like, okay, do I, I know how some of these work. Do I have to go up the way I came, or can I get in line with everybody else? And is this like a two-way thing? And I don't know, but I saw some of the signs saying that it is a two-way, and everybody is heading that way. So I'm thinking, okay, so I just need to back out and get in line. So I get my car started up, and then I see there's this huge break in cars. So this last, so I get in, I put in reverse, or I put in R, waiting for that last car to clear me so I can back out and get behind them. But of course, everybody's moving very, very slowly. So just as he cleared me, all of a sudden here comes another car coming around the corner and goes by me, only sits there. And while I'm waiting for that car to clear, here comes another one. And this repeated itself. Then all of a sudden a bunch of other cars came, and I'm sitting there waiting. It's like, how long is this going to go? And finally, one guy held back, gave me time to back out and get in line. And then we went around the bend, went that way, and then went around another bend, and then as soon as we did that, all of a sudden everybody split off into there's like 5 different lanes to pay for your parking. And they had a person sitting at each one who took your ticket, fed the machine, took your credit card, fed it in the machine, gave it back to you, and you could go. The arm went back up, and then you could go. And as soon as I was through, then everybody had to merge back into one line again and make a turn. So as I was doing that, I realized that when I get to the end of this, I had absolutely no idea where I was going to be and how to get home. And if it said anything like, if there was a sign saying anything about 2nd Street or the 4th Avenue or anything like that, I would have no idea where I was or how to get anywhere. So I was like, okay, Lord, I kind of need a little help here. So we all got in one line again, and I'm watching, and we're all kind of heading kind of this kind of decline, and we're all going. Finally, it gets my turn, and there's a stop sign, and I look ahead, I look forward, and here, that's the picture that I saw on MapQuest, and right in front of me was a sign saying 394 West, which is exactly where I need to be, and I was like, oh, thank you. So I took another left, and then a quick another left, and I was on my way home. So I find it's a huge accomplishment on my part that I made it there and back home again without getting too lost. So that's my story. I hope you enjoyed it. So I will wrap this up, and then I will add a few pictures. I'm grabbing every screenshot that I can. So I'll put a few, and then I will include one where I have marked like I was here. And so if you take that picture, and if you can expand it, the circle part I have circled, and so if you can expand that, if you look in the center of the circle, you will see a very small orange blob. and right above that, like almost like touching it, is it even smaller, like cream colored blob. That's me. I had an orange backpack with for my stuff, and so you can see that. I mean, you have to expand it, but you can see that. So, and then in that picture you can see Toby and his band as they're going up the catwalk. So, 35 minutes. So, was this too long? Long enough? You could listen to me forever. I really want to know. And then I'll go, I'll take that information and going forward. So, yeah. So, still trying to coordinate with Jen about the unbox, and there should be the new one should be arriving next week, so now we're behind. But we will get it done, and I will have a taste testing video. So, maybe next week. Yeah. So, I got plenty of other ideas and thoughts, and no news on the job front. No real news. So I'll keep you all apprised on that too. So have a good rest of your day. I hope you enjoyed my stories. I know you'll let me know whether you did or not. So thank you for watching. Bye.